the war on terrorism and the PATRIOT Act go under Sowell's microscope.
People don't want to believe that benefits have costs. They would love to be able to stop the terrorists without having to inconvenience anybody. But unfortunately, that's not the world we live in.
You've written about the PATRIOT Act, passed in 2001 after the attacks on 9/11, and defended it as not being an excessive intrusion into individual rights. And yet some conservatives have taken exactly the opposite opinion, that it is.
Well, there's no such thing as benefits without costs. And I think 4 years ago, after the 9/11 attack, we were fearful of the next attack, at Christmas time, at the Super Bowl, during the World Series, etc. And 4 years have gone by without it. I think that's a good track record. And I don't think it's because the terrorists have gotten nicer.
Well, couldn't we loosen up on the PATRIOT Act now a little bit?
This is what I've called the polio fallacy, that when people began to get vaccinated for polio, incidence of polio just dropped drastically. And then people said, well, obviously we don't need to get vaccinated because nobody has polio anymore. And of course, and then there was a resurgence of polio because people stopped getting vaccinated. So you can't just assume that things got better on their own. They did not.
Is it all right for FBI agents to go and question librarians about what some person has checked out?
It's not ideal, but among the horrors of the world, I wouldn't put that on the first page.
Is that justified by the war on terrorism?
We don't know. I don't want to find out.
Do you think people make a fetish out of individual liberties?
Yes, anything can be important as a principle and ridiculous as a fetish. A lot of those things out there.
Why is there this opposition? Is it strictly that to things like the PATRIOT Act?
I think it's part of a larger set of attitudes that people don't want to believe that benefits have costs. And this is just one of the ways of expressing that attitude. They would love to be able to stop the terrorists without having to inconvenience anybody, not have to stop anybody at the airports and so forth and so on. But unfortunately, that's not the world we live in.
First, the war went well, but restoring the peace has proved elusive, prompting many to equate Iraq with our failed policy in Vietnam. You opposed the war in Vietnam, I believe, not on left-wing grounds, but on what grounds?
On grounds that they weren't going to do what it took to win, and yet their men were going to be killed day in and day out for no apparent reason.
Well, what about Iraq now?
Well, there is an apparent reason, one of them being the terrorists. I mean, every terrorist they kill in Iraq is one that will never get over here.
You've noted something that I really hadn't noticed anywhere else, and that is the lack of media-proclaimed heroes.
Yes.
In Iraq. What does that mean?
Oh my God!
What's behind that?
Oh, I think it's the media is against the war, and therefore they don't want to do anything that would be positive. But I get everything I hear from people who've been to Iraq, not through the media. It's wholly different from what I get in the media. You can't fight a war without heroism on the part of the troops. They're constantly depicting the soldiers over there as victims. And so if there's some National Guardsman who has some financial problem because he had to go off and leave his job, that's front page news in the New York Times. But that this man gave up his life, that's not front page news.